This is Aaron Levine, LG Insurance, with another episode of the And Insurance podcast. I have with me right now and today, Toby Stark, Stark Associates Insurance Agency.
Howdy.
Agency?
It's an agency.
So. Close enough.
We're an agency. It's the DOBI, we'll say.
Yes,
good.
I have another insurance agent on the podcast, but Toby's specialty revolves around the medical insurance business, which is not my specialty. So I've got Toby here. I want to learn a little bit more. I want to share. We're going to talk about small business. We're going to talk about Medicare. We're going to talk about that lovely individual marketplace. Why is it still open enrollment, and kind of dive into some of these things for a little bit to see if we can help people understand a little bit more about their medical insurance options. So Toby, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Give me like 90 seconds on your background.
Sure. So I kind of grew up with you in the insurance industry.
Hey now.
You probably have a year on me or two, but we fork in the road when it came to insurance. You're property and casualty, and I went the medical route. I tell Aaron all the time, if things were different, maybe I should have gone the property and casualty route. Still, his opportunity is still open. Medical is very emotional, but I started the agency right around that time. So about, 11 years? 11, 12 years? Dog years, it seems.
I think I'm going into 13 right about now.
Okay, 13 years.
So bills are paid. Business is good. Toby does the health insurance for my staff, for my agency.
For your agency. My agency does it for your agency.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly. So we rely on Toby as our professional to guide us with respect to these things. So let's talk about personal insurance first, right? I want to dive into the marketplace, right? So this Obamacare was created in, what year was Obamacare?
2013, but it's called the federal.
It feels so long ago.
Well, you didn't have to live through 2013.
That's when I got out of medical insurance.
You made
to quit at that point.
You told me that. I think we were in a car driving somewhere, and you said, "I'm out."
Driving to a golf somewhere.
Most likely, you said that's smart.
Or to the range. But right now, the CARES Act, whatever it's called, is still open enrollment, right? So tell me what's going on with individual medical and how that's working.
So with COVID though, we are on the state marketplace, which is different than federal. We left the federal marketplace. Now everybody's like, federal, state, whatever. I just want a subsidy. We left the federal marketplace last year. So New Jersey decided that we'll do it on our own.
Is that good or bad?
I don't really know how to answer that yet. It seems like it's going okay because this is the first year. What I would say is I got used to the federal model, but consumers are getting more money now. They're not only getting subsidy money from the federal government,
right,
but they're also getting subsidy from the state too. And it might be $50 a month, but it counts, especially for people that are out of work.
That starts to add up.
But with COVID, what Governor Murphy decided to do is they're going to just keep enrollment open. What is open enrollment? Open enrollment is the opportunity to enroll in a medical insurance plan without any proof that you've had coverage elsewhere, or you're coming off somewhere, or any of that paperwork, and it's the entire year. So I get calls, I don't have insurance, I have to go to the doctor. You can get coverage now. You don't have to prove it. It's kind of like I'm in an ambulance, or for homeowners, my house is on fire. Can I get homeowners? Sure.
It seems wild to me that you can just, all right, I got to go to the doctor tomorrow, Toby. I need medical insurance because I hurt myself. So and then they're going to cancel it the next month? Like, are people going to take advantage of the system in that way?
They can, but there's still an individual mandate in New Jersey that says you, Aaron Levine, have to have medical insurance. And if you don't, you have to pay a penalty or a fine. And the fine, actually, I don't want to get into specifics. I can't remember how much it is for that full calendar year. But it is definitely a heavier penalty than the federal government was for a family. I think it's over $2,000 possibly that you would have to pay. So you can get coverage, but if you don't have coverage for a certain period and you file taxes, that's important. You might have to pay a penalty.
The penalty seems to be the incentive to then purchase insurance, right? Insurance is a concept of a pool of money coming from many sources, many different people, to then pay for those that need it.
Yep.
Those that are going to take advantage of the system, are going to screw the pool for everybody, so to speak. But the penalty and fines in the state of New Jersey are the incentive for everybody to then contribute, buy into the system, and pay their share, so to speak.
If you want to go back to 2013 when it first started, everybody was basically on a business owner plan. There was a business owner, they had group medical. Then all of a sudden now the subsidies were eligible and they're like, well, let me go out and see if I can get more money to get a plan. And people were calling that were afraid of paying the penalty. That was the first year that if you don't have medical insurance, so they were actually like, I don't want insurance, but I don't want to pay the penalty, so I'll take the insurance. And as a business owner, I'm like, okay, well, now that somebody's forcing your hand, kind of like auto insurance, depending, well, now you can enroll. So nobody really knows the full cost of medical insurance, especially now because it's getting subsidized by somebody. Is it getting subsidized by you as the employer or the government?
Sure.
We don't know what the real cost is anymore, and that's kind of a problem because the rates aren't going to go down anytime soon, and they've continued to go up.
So the rates have continued to go up on the individual and on the small group and on the large group side, over the last forever, right? I don't think the rates have ever gone down. Well, but there was a period of time, 2013 to 2020 or 2019, where the rates were going up at a significant clip at a higher percentage than they are now. Have we kind of plateaued or no?
So your percentage of increase over some of your policies to my medical percentage and what's considered high are probably two different things. You might be 7%, and I'm like, no, that's fine. Actually, so 2013, to give you an example, when the rating methodology changed and you went from a composite rating where if you had a couple of people that were 50 years old, you had one rate and that was it. Now the methodology has changed. So I was saying, hey, business A, B, and C, you got a 70% rate increase because the rating methodology has changed. So let's say that was the highest in 2013. This year, 2 to 3%. So I would say that it plateaued and it's okay, but it's still not great. I'd like to give all my clients a 0% renewal. I'd love that, but that's not how it works.
But 2 to 3% to me seems stable.
That's very stable.
Although it's gone up significantly over the past few years, especially with this new rating system.
It's definitely gone up, but business owners sometimes have short memories. They get mad at you quickly and then forget. Or they forget that they had almost no increase the year before and they have a 10% increase this year, so they're not happy. So
same thing with their business insurance. It goes the same way when we're working with business owners and even individuals. Hey, why did my rate go up? I didn't have an accident. Didn't have a claim. We didn't do anything. We made less money, but my rates went up. I'm like, well, it's because rates are going up on a global scale, not just on an individual scale. It wasn't you, but globally, and I mean worldwide, rates have gone up. Cost of insurance, cost of reinsurance. The pool costs have gone up significantly. If we look at property coverage, we've had significant amount of wildfires that are still ongoing and starting up again. We've had floods and hurricanes and tornadoes and everything else causing significant property damage, which is causing that pool of money to shrink. COVID causing that pool of money to shrink. And then therefore there's been a need to increase reserves and costs go up across the board. And there's not much that we can do about it, but I'm the bad guy when
you have to somebody's got to deliver the information. News,
so I totally get it. So you also work on, besides business and besides regular individuals,
individual insurance,
insurance, you work with the Medicare market. And I know nothing about the Medicare market.
You will in 24 years or
24 years. I'll call Toby and I'll tell him like, why is it so expensive? Is what's going to.
You've made it very clear that you've had no interest in it. You know what you know. Yeah,
and I know what I don't know. Or I don't know what I don't know.
No,
exactly. So talk to me about the Medicare market. What's going on with that market space, and what can people do as they are coming of age, with respect to that, and should they contact a broker? They get 9,000 pieces of mail from AARP.
It's an understatement.
And everybody else.
Yes.
It's like buying a new house. You buy a new house, you get mortgage protection insurance letters.
It's so genius. It's just life insurance, but it's good.
We don't even know of and have never heard of, and they probably sell some stuff because
they definitely do.
Mailing.
Yeah.
So when you're coming of age for your Medicare benefits, how does that work, and why should they contact a broker versus going with one of these things that get delivered in the mail?
So the path of least resistance is going with one of these things that come in the mail, because unfortunately, you're going to make a healthcare decision and you're an uneducated consumer. Think about this. You worked for the same company. I know it's odd now, but worked for the same company for 25, 30 years. They offered benefits. All you knew is you had this thing in your pocket called medical insurance. I ask people every day, what's on your card and what's it say? Nobody knows their carrier. Nobody knows what they have. And that's a system problem too.
Right.
So you think from a standpoint of a 63 to a 64-year-old, now they're turning 65. That's Medicare eligibility. They're going to educate themselves quickly and then make a great decision? Probably not. They weren't educated the whole time when they were on a business plan. So it's important to reach out to a broker or at least know the timelines of when you're going to enroll in Medicare. Most importantly, because if you don't, there could be late enrollment penalties. What type of business are you part of? Are you going to take Medicare, or are you going to just enroll in Part A only, or Part A and Part B? There's many decisions to be made, but there's also the knocks at the door. The other day, I called the lady that said that Bankers Insurance was cold calling. They were knocking on doors, and they knocked on her doors down in Southwest Jersey. So you're getting knocks on the door from people. Everybody assume this. Everyone knows your birthday. So the best time is when to get marketed to is when you know that there's interest, right? Sure. So they know, everyone on the planet knows that 3 months before your birthday month, you're going to have to make some type of decision. Here comes the mail. Here comes the phone calls. But you should work with an independent broker because they will represent, like we do, all different carriers, will educate about the Medicare process, like we did with your dad. And
no comment.
Go through the process so they understand what they're getting, because there's often confusion. They think that they're getting a network. They don't know. So it's all about education. That's what we're passionate about.
So why are there so many different carriers and plans with respect to the Medicare, the supplements and the Advantage? What's the difference between a supplement and an Advantage plan?
So an Advantage plan is more or less managed care, where that's something that you've always had. So that'll be your path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. You go, oh, it has a network. I pay co-pays when I go to the doctor. There could be a deductible. There might be this maximum out of pocket, but it looks and smells the same as what I've had prior. So it couldn't be that bad, right? Because they don't know what actual original Medicare is with a Medicare supplement. They have no idea. And 99% of the solicitations will be from a Medicare Advantage plan because they're conditioned. You and I could be conditioned on, all right, let's look in this book. Does our doctor participate? No. Okay. We'll find a doctor that does. So there are networks. Original Medicare with a Medicare supplement, there are no networks. You go wherever you want and you have freedom to choose any doctor that takes Medicare. I can't tell you the amount of times that I'll tell people, we'll go through the whole conversation. They understand Medicare. They understand the Medicare supplement. And full disclosure, the reason why we're talking about Medicare supplement is because Medicare itself, which is the government-run program, does not pay for all of your care. If it did, we wouldn't be talking about it at all. Right. But it is a government program that is free to you, that you've paid into for basically your entire working life. About $100,000 you've paid into over your lifetime to get this benefit.
Wow.
But with Medicare and the supplement, you have freedom to go wherever you want. And people will ask, okay, so what about Aetna or what about Mutual of Omaha? And they ask questions about the Medicare supplement. I said, you have to remember you're going on Medicare. There's no network anymore. You go wherever you want.
You go over wherever accepts Medicare.
Which most doctors do and all hospitals do. So you have the freedom to choose. So when you get in your mid to late 60s, depending, your family's grown, are you going to visit them? Do you have another house? Are you trying to leave New Jersey? Out migration, there's a term for that. Retirees leaving New Jersey. But are you trying to leave?
Are supplements cheaper in other states? Is it a state-based? Same.
It is.
It's the same as any other insurance, right? It's a state-based system.
It is. It's portable though. So if you buy it in New Jersey, you can leave. Let's say you can go to South Carolina or Florida. You can purchase another Medicare supplement, possibly depending on what county you live in, for less of a cost. But it will be portable. Sometimes, if you're not healthy, you may not be able to change. They're called underwritten. Its plans are underwritten. So even if you move, you might not be able to change.
Well, it seems like it's a pretty, not a free market, but it's a competitive market in the Medicare space for those supplements. Seems like a little bit more competitive than traditional medical insurance for either individuals or groups as well, right?
Well, I would tell you this, 11,000 people a day age into Medicare, 11,000. It's a gigantic market and it's growing every day. But somebody in New Jersey that's enrolled in an individual medical insurance plan at age 64 is paying about $1,200 a month. They go on to Medicare and they're paying $149 a month for the Medicare supplement. So it's not if, it's when, and they're coming off. I mean, most plans, they'll age you out anyway, the individual plans. So,
all right, let's go back to group insurance.
Sure.
You know, I've had enough talking about the Medicare.
I love it.
You love Medicare. But I love our Medicare folks. I want to know more about the group stuff. I want to know where groups are going, how competition is in the market space. You know, how many carriers do we have in the small group space right now in New Jersey?
4.
So it's shrinking.
There's small options. There is. I don't have any clients with them, but the MIWA, they just filed for bankruptcy, so that's one less option. And actually, the small employer marketplace at its height in the late 90s, small employer for definition purposes is 2 to 50 employees. So LG Insurance Agency fits between 2 to 50. In the mid to late 90s, there was 800,000 people enrolled. Now, under 200,000.
That's incredible.
So it's a combination of things. People are leaving their plan, going on to Medicare. They're leaving the state. Businesses are going out of business. There's different funding mechanisms for plans, level funding. There's different options. So the true small employer marketplace is fully insured, like your Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Oscar, Oxford, and AmeriHealth. I mean, that's essentially
that
it.
Statistic of 800,000 participants in small group medical in the 90s to now 200,000 today. You know, New Jersey, you know, touts itself on being small business centric, but yet small businesses aren't participating in medical insurance for their employees. Of
course they're not. It's expensive and it's voluntary. People, the Affordable Care Act in 2013, Obamacare, as everybody likes to call it, made it pay to play. It was mandated for companies to pay, but over 50. So most businesses are much smaller than 50. They're smaller than 10. So a lot now are like, wait a minute, I could have my employees go out on the marketplace and the government can subsidize those plans? And you mean I don't need to subsidize it? I'll just give them some money and we'll just do that. The individual market in New Jersey, I know we're away from it, but the individual market in New Jersey has now, this past quarter, outpaced enrollment versus small employer health. And if that's not a sign of...
I think I have to look into that because
I've only been saying it.
I fully subsidize my entire staff.
Which is nice for you to do that.
Medical insurance, because I believe in providing benefits to the people that do a great job for me so I can spend more time on camera. Of course. And doing and the things that I
2 to 5 shows a day,
you know, drinking tequila and doing everything else.
Full disclosure, that's water though.
It is water in here today. With our new tumblers that we just got in, so I'm super excited to be able to share them. But you know, I wish more small businesses would participate and offer benefits. And in this competitive landscape, there's businesses all over the place that are everybody that I know of is short of help. Not just in the hospitality business. In the professional services field, everybody is looking for more people to go to work. You know, benefits was always a way to attract people,
of course,
to work for them. And that's why we offer medical insurance. That's why we offer an IRA match. That's why we offer supplemental benefits through AFLAC.
Are you hiring?
Yeah, you want to jump?
Yeah, sure.
We can talk about it. Should we negotiate on camera?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Negotiate this right now?
Should we do our normal negotiation?
We can't put that on camera.
Can I take the match? I'll take the match.
You can have the match.
I'll take the match. I need the match. But that's what your thought is very holistic. But this is what it comes. So you pay 100%. So a lot of employers do not. 70-30, you maybe down to 50-50. But the employee is going to look at the paycheck, and even at 50%, they're going to be like, wait a minute. But I only pay, this is real. This is somebody in their 20s. I only pay $65 a month for my medical insurance.
Right.
So, but your plan, I'm going to be paying $300, and you're going to be withholding $150 from my paycheck. Like, I don't want to do that. I just want to keep mine. And as the employer, are you going to go, no, you need to, oh, okay. All right. You want to waive out of the plan, but I offered it to you. So I think there's a mindset of business owners out there, and it depends on the size. You're few and far between on giving 100% of total value because you believe in your employees and they respond. The 2 to 10s think differently than 10 to 20. And so like if you're going to have a 30-person group, they're probably offering group medical. Right. They have their payroll's huge. They definitely have some decent revenue and they're going to be able to pay for benefits. So they're going to lock that in. But the smaller businesses, they're going to need guidance and we help them too. But we also throw dynamite in there and be like, what about blowing this up? What do you think? I mean, that's where we're at now. 5 years ago, I would have said, all right, we're putting this group together.
Right.
But rules have changed and have made it more difficult. And I'm not going to fight a government subsidy. It's what's in the employer's best interest. If it's blowing it up and they need to get individual coverage, sure. And there is ways that they can fund that pre-tax.
I mean, this is everything that I talk about is bringing in a professional in a specific field that knows what they're talking about. Yes, I giggle when I say that about Toby, but he does know what he's talking about.
People know they always giggle.
Not only is Toby a professional in the medical insurance, Medicare, individual, life insurance, disability, and everything else.
Oh, you're promoting that even though you do that, so thank you.
Yeah, no, there's a whole podcast on a whole life insurance bit that we did.
I should watch it. I could learn something.
You might learn something. We dropped some bombs on that one. That was a good one. Jason was on that one. But you're a philanthropic, you're always out in the community doing great things. We had a great golf outing just a couple of weeks ago or last week for the Eatontown Lions Club, and just, rattle off some of your charities that you support through the Lions Club real quick.
Local. So the Eatontown Lions Club, we gather the money in, and our main mission is to help the blind. We've done a great job, but there's also local fundraisers that need help too. The Captain James Gerbis Foundation, friend of mine, unfortunately passed away in Iraq in 2005. He was killed in action. So we have a fundraiser for him to help their family. And it's basically scholarships that help the local school, Monmouth Regional, for kids that need help going to college, because those costs aren't going down anytime soon. Talk about runaway rates. Those costs aren't going away anytime soon. Also, Fisher House, it's a home away from home for military families to stay when their loved one gets injured on the battlefield. So they're actually domiciled around hospitals, either stateside or over in Germany. Germany, especially when with the action in the Middle East, Germany was a big hotbed to drop off injured troops. So they had houses there. And also locally here, Eastern Monmouth Educational Foundation, we help folks that need scholarships that are going back to school over 25 years of age that need to make a little bit of a career change. Like you and I, we knew we wanted to get new insurance right after college, right? Yeah, first thing.
Listen,
so we didn't need to.
I had a couple of other jobs before the insurance thing kicked in, but going back to school as an adult to learn a new trade, to learn a new skill, I think is super important.
Absolutely.
Monmouth County does a great job with their workforce development.
Yep.
Don, thank you for your help with that. We have somebody that came out of workforce development. It's a subsidy program for any employer that's out there looking to hire in Monmouth County. There are qualified individuals where you can then hire them, and Monmouth County then can pay up to $10,000 of wages for a period of time. So it's fantastic programs out there. So Toby, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your knowledge. Always hire a professional when it comes down to anything that you're doing. Run your business, be in your business, do exactly what you do best, and hire everybody else around you to support you, create that team. And there's much success to be had. So thanks, Toby.
As Brian Tracy would say, you're welcome.
Do it.